Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. This is Andrea Warner, and I'd like to welcome you to a disruptive quick class brought to you by Disruptive Advertising. I'm here today with Saunder Schroeder. Saunder, can you say hello?
Hello, how's it going?
Good. Thanks for being here. Saunder is the Vice President of Paid Social here at Disruptive. Today, we're going to be talking about the 1,000-pound marketing gorilla in the room, Facebook ads versus Google ads. And we're long past the time of wondering which one we should be doing for our business, but yet here we are. There's a lot of people that still have that question. Facebook is such a newer advertising platform to a lot of people that they maybe disregarded it or just it's hard to kind of wrap your head around how to use it. And so for those of you on the call today, go ahead and ask questions as you have them, and we'll get to them at some point during this call today, okay? All right, so Saunder, talk to us about, well, first of all, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so as you can see on this slide, I definitely love my family. That's kind of my motivation, my joy, and what I look forward to. So you can see my beautiful wife. Her name's Jaylyn. She rocks blue hair. I love that about her, and definitely helps her stand out. She's a mompreneur. So she's very involved in businesses. She has a blog, an e-commerce website, and she sells lipstick as well. So she's definitely inspiring. And then you can see our cute little baby Charlie. She's 8 months old and starting to get into everything. So she definitely brings us a lot of excitement and joy. As far as a quick bio on myself, I've been in digital marketing for 6 years. I actually got started in digital marketing by starting my own e-commerce website. So for me, it was drive revenue and sales in order to pay the bills and take cute girls on dates like my wife. So that's kind of what got me started in digital marketing. Then I went and worked for an agency where I was able to create digital marketing strategies for companies like ESPN, Dell, Time Warner Cable, Adobe, many very, very large companies, Citrix. So I gained a lot of great experience in how the enterprise companies work. It was a great experience there. And then following that, I went and ran marketing for an e-commerce company that was doing about $30 million a year. So for me, that was a great opportunity to manage an email list with over 1 million subscribers, social followings, upwards of 1 million as well, and get into Facebook advertising, Google Adwords, and really experience a lot with the B2C kind of e-commerce play.
It's fantastic. I can't wait to see how this equates to Facebook advertising.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about this as well. So as far as those who will benefit from this webinar, I've kind of kept in mind as I created this, how we can help business owners, digital marketing managers, and then also maybe PPC managers or strategists. So yeah, as we go through this, that's kind of what, as I put this together, who I had in mind.
Perfect.
And then as far as a quick outline, so we're going to go through a quick breakdown, just a flow chart of where you should be advertising just based on your industry, so whether that's Facebook or AdWords. Now keep in mind a lot of this is generalities. So we'll get into case studies that are for very specific industries and what was better, Facebook or AdWords. And then following that presentation, we'll have questions at the end. And like Andrea said, if you have any questions as we go through this, definitely feel free to ask them.
Fantastic.
Okay, so to start, here's the flow chart I was discussing. So for us, whenever we have an e-commerce company that's wanting to work with us, it's a pretty quick no-brainer for us that they should be advertising on Facebook. And I'll show you on the next slide why that makes sense, but there's definitely a lot more impulse when it comes to e-commerce. And typically showing people a visual ad or a lifestyle image definitely triggers some impulse to get them to purchase products. Now, if we're in the B2B space, whether that's a SaaS company or a service company, typically AdWords makes much more sense. When people are on Facebook, they're usually not looking for things to help them professionally. It's more of a casual experience they're looking for, keep up to date with friends, maybe watch some videos. And then as far as services go, it's kind of split down the middle. So what we've been able to see is AdWords does a better job with plumbers, HVAC, electrical. Essentially, if your basement were to flood, you're not going to turn to Facebook. You're going to turn to Google. You're going to turn to family, friends to quickly get that service taken care of. But what we have seen is if we're working with people, let's say there's like more procrastination things, so getting your carpet cleaned, lawn maintenance, things like that, Facebook advertising tends to work pretty well.
It's an interesting point about procrastination events.
Yeah. So as far as why these different channels make sense the way they do, a lot of it just kind of comes down to the numbers. So our cost per click on Facebook we have outlined by industry as well as AdWords. So it kind of just becomes a numbers game. So when looking at e-commerce, we know our average cost per click is about 70 cents. Now you can get that down to 5-10 cents. And our average AdWords cost per click is about $4. Now, typically AdWords is more bottom of the funnel traffic, so you're going to have a higher conversion rate, probably 4 to 6%, where Facebook your conversion rate's probably going to be 2 to 4%. So if you just simply do the numbers, then Facebook usually tends to come out as a better place to start. Same kind of applies with home services, and then as you see, once we get down to business services, the cost per click on Facebook is always going to be cheaper. It's just whether or not it's the right network. So as we go through industry-specific case studies, we'll be able to outline kind of how those things work together and work against each other as well.
That's great.
Okay, so now we're going to jump into some case studies where Facebook performed much better than Google AdWords. So we have a company, they do vehicle paint protection as well as Plasti-Dip and Autoflex. So this applies to essentially car tuners, people who want to change the color of their wheels or their paint. So definitely people who are more passionate about their cars. It's a hobby of theirs and something they're very into. So as you can see on Facebook, our return on ad spend for them is at a 52x. So for every dollar they put in, they get $52 back, where AdWords is about a 1 to 5. Now for them, it still makes sense to do AdWords. We're definitely believers in diversifying your traffic, and they're still profitable at that. So it makes sense to maintain profitability with AdWords, but Facebook has just been a much more profitable channel.
Saunder, we talk a lot about return on ad spend at Disruptive. Maybe can you elaborate on that just a little bit for people on the call?
Yeah, so simply, as you can see under the amount spent, the total spent is $10,000. And from that $10,000, we were able to generate $531,000. So for us, what we look at and why we care about return on ad spend is because it's actually affecting the bottom line of our clients. So it's important to look at cost per clicks and click-through rate, and that can definitely affect your cost per conversion. But end of the day, we definitely want to help our clients' business grow. That's part of our mission statement, is we want to build lasting relationships with our clients, with our fellow peers, by providing positive results. So that's why we like to measure KPIs that actually affect the bottom line of our clients' businesses. So as they grow, we're also growing with them.
That is exactly what I was hoping you would say. I mean, cost per click is a metric, but it is nowhere near as important as return on ad spend. So yeah. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, definitely. And we even get more granular than this. So in a lot of our reports that we send to our clients, we'll look at the contribution margin and the ROI percentage. so that gets even more granular, so they can see the exact lift to their business. So one of the reasons why Facebook advertising is more effective in this case is as you can see in the images, we're showing cars that people have. We're showing them colors, how they look on the cars. So it's just very eye-catching to those who are passionate about their vehicles and keeping them new, keeping them fresh. So you can see we get a lot of interaction on our ads. We drive a lot of traffic, get a lot of shares. So we also, from that, get a lot of organic traffic. So as people are tagging their friends in our posts, that's driving traffic that we don't have to pay for to our ads, and then, to our client site. Versus, AdWords, still effective, as we saw with the return on ad spend, but it's just not as visual. So there's some things with the client's feed and limitations that we have where we can't use images like we have in our Facebook ads. So there's definitely a good advantage to Facebook for that.
It's a cool looking product.
Yeah, it's awesome, and it has a low price point. So that's why it's very very effective on Facebook, because you can dip your whole car for a few $100s, where getting a custom paint job is definitely a few $1,000s. So the price point definitely helps. And then you can see in our targeting comparison, so looking at our targeting here, we're targeting people who have behaviors of buying a new or a used car. And then we found that testing luxury cars or more tuner cars has been a successful targeting option. And then, as you can see, we also like to target those who have made auto part or auto part purchases online. So we know they're making purchases online around their cars already. So we have this audience pretty well dialed in. We've also tested, as you can see, like we're targeting Acura, Audi, BMW, a lot of different brands. We've tried just doing an Audi ad set with just Audi ads, but they didn't perform as well. So that was an interesting learning. We thought having it even more segmented would add a lift. So that's why we have things grouped the way they are.
Interesting.
So, and then AdWords is obviously just a search term. So that's kind of what you target on the AdWords front. Now to look at another client. This has been one of my favorite clients to work on. This is one actually at Disruptive Advertising. Our leadership also manages accounts so that we stay fresh, we stay up to date. So this is one I was able to manage. When we started with them, they were only spending $5,000 a month, but we were able to show a very positive return on investment. And from that, we were able to scale the budget, to a six-figure monthly budget. So it's been a very awesome and rewarding client to work with. So you can see, looking at the return on ad spend for Facebook versus AdWords, is they're pretty identical, but the big difference is volume. So our Facebook ads generated 804 booking inquiries or rentals, versus our AdWords campaigns only generating 546 rentals. So we hit a volume cap. They're a newer company, so for us to generate brand awareness definitely helps them grow across the board. So that's why Facebook's just been a really good channel for them.
So just to be super clear on that last slide, you are just able to reach more people with Facebook. The return on ad spend was roughly the same, but there's just more people that you could get to with Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. There's more volume. So since they're a newer company, they just don't have as much search volume, or just their industry. There's not a lot of people searching for boat rentals because it is so new. And I would assume like the same was for Uber when they started, right? So there's a lot that, a lot of brand awareness that we're generating. And I'll show an example of how our Facebook ads directly impacted our paid search ads. So looking at Facebook, you can see our ads. So these are our three top performing ads. We have one that's for celebrating, one for fishing, and one for water sports. And they perform very well, get great interaction. Versus obviously the AdWords ad, it's just not as eye-catching. Still great, still profitable, but this definitely helps us in growing brand awareness. So that example I was talking about came through our video ads. So our video ads have been our top performing ads for them. This is a video ad. As you can see in the bottom left, this ad has had 125,000 views. So we can see on the right-hand side, this is their increase in branded traffic. So that arrow pointing down is when we started launching our video ads. So you can see as soon as we started launching those ads, branded traffic started increasing as well. So there was definitely a direct correlation, and awesome that we were able to bring value to our AdWords as we were doing Facebook advertising as well.
It is so cool. So you show this video on Facebook, and then people go to Google and search for it using the brand name.
Yep, exactly.
Fantastic.
And then you can see some of our targeting that we created. So our celebrating one was definitely very alcohol centric. That's kind of the age group that we found a lot of success with. As far as our water sports, we did a lot of wakeboarding, different brands within that. And then our fishing was, this is the deep sea fishing one. We also have a lake fishing one that we've done as well. So you can just see our targeting is very, very layered. We've tested multiple audiences. We created around 100 different campaigns, and each campaign had probably 8 to 12 ad sets. And each of those ad sets essentially were testing new audiences. So with their budget and being able to scale that, we were able to test a lot of different audiences to get things dialed in. So this next client, they essentially are the Uber for truck drivers. So what that means is if companies need truck drivers to pick up shipments and their truck drivers are too busy, they have a surplus of inventory to get out the door, these truckers can use this app and make money doing it, and it's great for the business as well because they don't need to hire full-time truck drivers to help with that, maybe that surplus that happened over the holidays or something like that. So for us, our goal, our cost per lead goal is $60. As you can see, AdWords was well underneath that goal at $54. But the cool thing with our Facebook is we were able to have an average of $9, $9 cost per lead. So what's cool about this is you can see our lookalike audience actually is generating a cost per lead of $4.59 versus our targeting is at $15. So we like to test all sorts of different audience types, and I'll kind of show you what our ads look like, and then we can dive into that targeting. So once again, there's a very different visual experience when looking at the Facebook ad versus the AdWords ad. Good interaction. A lot of our other ads get a lot of comments of people wondering what it is, because once again, we're generating brand awareness. So the client is definitely very happy with the results that we've generated thus far. As far as our targeting goes, you can see, primarily we just did job title targeting of people that are involved with trucking, and those performed super well. That was the $14 cost per lead, and then we took their existing email list and we uploaded that, and that's how we created the lookalike audience. So that performed even better, cut the cost per lead by about a third. So a lot of great results with that company.
Just a further quick word on lookalike audiences. People are always so surprised when they kind of see behind the scenes with Facebook ads and the targeting that's available. I mean, who would think that you could target truck drivers or people who've bought an Audi in the last 6 months? But then the lookalike audiences take that even one step further, and you can find audiences. There's actually a slider. You slide the dial to say how closely you want the audience to match. And so I usually keep mine pretty targeted. And Facebook has like 5 to 7 data points that they'll match to find that lookalike audience. And the results are impressive. They go out and find more people like the people you already have that already like you. It's really, really awesome. So thank you for showing us that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a pro tip on that, and this is one of our secrets. Kind of funny in our industry, we're always sharing our secrets. But one of the tests we like to do is a targeted, which we've shown, then that lookalike, which Andrew just covered perfectly, and then what we like to do is take that lookalike audience and layer it with that targeted audience. And so right off the bat, you're able to test 3 different audience types and see exactly how they perform. So it's just an awesome and a pretty quick way to do some audience testing right out of the gate.
Fantastic. Thank you for that.
Yeah. So I wanted to show an example of actually disruptive advertising. So an ad that we run. So Facebook has now what are called lead ads. They're pretty new, been around for a few months. And what it does is when you click on the call to action button, so the learn more, it tells you a little bit more about disruptive advertising. So that middle image, what we do, target your customer, grow your business. And then the final one is once you get to the next step, what it does is it actually auto-fills your information based on your Facebook profile. So it puts in your name, your company's name, your work email, your phone number, and then you get 3 fields to ask different questions. So we're using 3 of those with what are your Facebook advertising goals, what is your monthly Facebook advertising budget, that's a drop-down, and then what's your website URL. So those are the fields we're utilizing. So doing this, taking away the landing page step, has dropped our cost per lead by a 30th. So versus AdWords. So let's say our average AdWords lead costs $300. We're now able to generate a Facebook lead for $10. Now those aren't actual numbers, but you kind of get the idea of how effective these lead ads have been for us as a B2B company.
Interesting.
So yeah, so it's been now with the lead ads, we do have a better advertising spend to sales ratio with them. But once again, it comes back to volume. We generate a lot more volume and just higher quality leads through our AdWords campaigns versus our Facebook lead ads. But it's still our most profitable channel, just not as much volume.
Okay.
All right, so now we're going to show some examples of where AdWords is the winner.
Okay.
And then I just put a joke in here. Obviously, I'm the paid social guy, so I had to put a little joke in there. I actually love AdWords. Hopefully from this you're seeing how Facebook and AdWords really work together and can both be profitable channels.
That's great. Thanks.
So one of the clients I'm going to highlight now is a university client. So for them, we've done a lot of Facebook advertising and testing the channel. Our cost per lead is obviously double, almost 2.5. So it's pretty high at $471 cost per lead. The reason why we invest in Facebook is we've essentially maximized the impression share on AdWords. So that's why we are now advertising on Facebook. Versus AdWords, you can see our conversions, the volume is much higher, the cost per lead is much lower. So it's a very, very profitable channel using AdWords.
That's a cutthroat industry right there, isn't it? Higher education.
Yes, it is. It is. So you can see the difference in ads. I don't want to focus too much on this. I think everyone kind of gets the point of the ad comparisons, what Facebook ads look like, what AdWords looks like. But what I do want to discuss is, I think with people looking for higher education, there's definitely a timing timing around when they want to go back to school. And it's just more proactive. If someone's looking to go back to school, they're going to turn to Google, turn to friends, different things like that. Where Facebook, we're definitely pushing them to get a higher education. So there's definitely if they're not ready and we're pushing it to them, then they're just not ready. But where we have seen a lot of success with Facebook is doing funnel retargeting. So depending on certain pages they've reached on the website, being able to retarget them. So if they've gotten through different checkout stages, or maybe they've become a lead but they haven't submitted their application, then we can do retargeting that way to make sure they're finishing their application. And I know we're not talking too much about LinkedIn right now, but LinkedIn has been a very profitable channel for us in the education industry. So I would definitely recommend looking into LinkedIn if you are involved in the education space.
Okay.
And then, so this is a supplement client. What they create or what they sell is organic grass-fed whey protein. So it's very niche specific. These are people who not only are passionate about fitness and health, but an organic grass-fed kind of diet. So it is very, very niche focused. With Facebook, we were only able to generate a 2.25 return on ad spend, where AdWords was a 4. So it is just a hard space. Anything that is a niche product is just more difficult to advertise. But the great thing about niche products is once you have a customer and they're passionate about your brand, they're going to have a lifetime value that's much higher, pretty much than any other industry or any other product. So that's oftentimes when we're working with niche products, we like to look at the lifetime value. So even though on Facebook we weren't profitable on the initial purchase, when factoring in the lifetime value, we are, very, very profitable. But this client really, wants us to be profitable by the first purchase. So that's where AdWords made a lot more sense. And so, and the reason is people are typing for those specific products in Google. They know what they want, and you can still see success as you see with Facebook. But AdWords typically for niche products is much better. And then lastly, this is a home automation client that we have. Our Facebook cost per lead is $168. Versus our AdWords cost per lead is $120. So it's not a huge difference, about a 25% difference, which I guess is a lot of money. But the biggest thing with this client is our cost per close or cost per sell is 4 times lower on Google AdWords. So once again, going back to where we discussed contribution margin, we like to dive into our client Salesforce, redirect that data back into these different platforms so we know exactly what the cost per sell is for our clients. So that way, once again, we're affecting the bottom line. We can look and see which campaigns are actually driving value, actually converting and closing to a sell.
Great. Let's go back to that slide just for 1 second, just in case anybody has a question about this. Bottom of the funnel traffic is people who are a lot closer to being ready to buy. Top of the funnel traffic is people who are just kind of thinking about it, just maybe had an idea, or maybe you even put the idea in their head with Facebook ads.
Yep, definitely. So most of your paid social traffic is going to be middle to top of the funnel. And that's why you see a lot of companies doing a lot of content promotion on social, because they understand that a lot of their customers or potential customers aren't ready to make a buying decision right then and there. So that's why it's important to set up different nurturing and retargeting campaigns to continue to work them through the funnel. Where AdWords, it's very search heavy, so they're searching exactly what they want. And that just means they're closer to a buying decision and typically lower funnel traffic.
Thank you.
And then, once again, this is obviously the slide that we started with. So just wanted to put this in here to just kind of wrap things up and just give you an idea. So we didn't talk too much about the target customer. Essentially, if your target customer and you're a B2C company is targeting women or females, typically Facebook, your rate of success is much higher just because women are much more active on Facebook. So if you, let's say, have an average order value of $40 and your buyer personas are 95% women, you have a pretty high success rate with Facebook advertising versus if you're a B2B company or a service company that's more emergency focused, then Adwords is going to be a much better channel. Now, as we've seen, Facebook and Adwords definitely work together. So I think the biggest thing from this, or maybe looking at this flowchart, is really where you should begin. So should you start with Facebook advertising or should you start with Google AdWords and then move through once essentially you've capitalized on all the impression share on AdWords, then that's a great time to start testing paid social. On the Facebook side, once things are profitable and scaling and growing and you've kind of hit that point of diminishing returns, then that's a great time to start focusing on AdWords. So yeah, just wanted to end on that, and now we can take any questions.
Right. So the way I see it, should you be doing Facebook ads or Google ads? The answer is yes. You should be doing
Yes.
both, and just figure out the best strategy. And Saunder is great at helping with that. Okay, so thank you so much. Let's go to the question slide, and we've got some wonderful questions here. Okay, David is asking, how do you track the ROAs for industries that have a longer buying process, like real estate?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a lot of times that's when we get into your Salesforce or your CRM, and we're able to track those sales once they happen, and then feed that data automatically back into AdWords or Facebook, and then also using analytics and UTM tagging, we can know exactly where those sales are going. So you can take that same Salesforce data and plug it back into Google Analytics to be able to track those sales when, let's say your buying cycle, well, probably not in today's market, it's probably a lot quicker, but maybe in the past it's 90 to 180 days, where right now maybe it's 30 to 60, but still a longer buying cycle or journey.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Okay, back on the slide where you talked about the branded traffic for video ads. Colin is asking, what did you use to look at branded traffic for video ads? Is that just looking at all organic traffic with a focus on branded terms?
Yeah, so this is actually looking at the branded traffic within our AdWords campaign. So we can see before this, when we were running Facebook ads, that there wasn't as much of an increase, but as soon as we started running our video ads and that reach and those views started really increasing, that's where we were able to see a correlation in that branded traffic increasing.
Okay, stay on this slide for 1 second. There's another question here. Does this Airbnb for Boats company create those videos and have you use them, or do you make those videos at Disruptive?
Yeah, great question. So yeah, we actually don't have a video or photography team at Disruptive. So, but we do have a design team. So what often happens is our clients will provide us with the image collateral, and then our designers will add overlays and text and different things to the images just to make them look a little bit better. So yeah, that's currently what we do at Disruptive when it comes to creative libraries.
Great. Okay, last question. Like we say, we're going to get you in and get you out. Where do you see the best return on AdWords? Remarketing, text ads, or graphic ads?
Typically, it's going to be on text ads. for, let's just say, the average client. Now there are some things you can do. Let's say you're doing like a mobile app install campaign. You can get app installs for $1 using Google's App Network. So there's things where other channels work better. Typically, if you're doing display, Facebook just has a much better targeting to test display initially there. But you can also see a lot of success with display, and then I just think retargeting across the board is great to do. The attribution can get a little hairy and hard to track, but what I've seen is when retargeting is on across all platforms, your cost per lead or cost per purchase lowers drastically. So even though it's hard to attribute back to retargeting, because you can see the revenue in retargeting is pretty high, it's still good to have on just because it does lower the costs across the board.
All right, wonderful. Okay, let's make sure. Yeah, okay, everybody's just saying thank you. So thank you. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay,
And then,
so
yeah.
let's go ahead and go back to your last slide. There we go. Okay, so if you have questions, Saunder, where should people call you or find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at Saunder Schroeder, or LinkedIn, the same URL. Those are both great places. I'm pretty active on Twitter, and active on LinkedIn as well. So I'll respond to you there. And then if you want a more immediate response, feel free to email me. I'll be honest and say I'm not the most responsive to phone calls because I'm always in and out of meetings and different things. So it would be better to email me or text me, and we can get a meeting and a call set up if you have any questions.
Okay, so email Saunder at disruptiveadvertising.com, and phone is 801-940-4279, and you can text. That sounds like a great plan.
Yeah.
All right, great. Okay, so everybody, thank you so much for being here today, and we hope to see you at our next quick class here at Disruptive Advertising. Have a great day, everyone. Saunder, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Andrea. Thanks, everyone.
All right, have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.